Hello, this next video is going to be an orientation of Survey123, one of our in-field data collection applications. The first thing we need to do is get logged into our ArcGIS Online account, as I am here. Head over to the little waffle pod next to your name on the top right and find the icon that says Survey123. It's a little green icon with a tick, and press it. When your Survey123 opens, you'll be presented with all the old surveys that you've ever created. If this is the first time opening your Survey123, yours will be blank, and that's fine. We'll create our first one today. You'll notice that on the Survey123 home screen, we can see here how many records have been done for each individual survey. This is really useful for us going forward so that we can tell how many people have done our survey. If we're sharing it with our students and we have 20 students in the class and only 19 records, we know someone in the class has not done what they were supposed to do yet, and so it's a really easy way to keep track of who's doing what. So before we get into creating a Survey123, I just wanted to give you an example of one. This is a Survey123 that was created for abiotic data collection in the mangroves in Brisbane Port. Now, as you can see on the overview page, it shows total records, total participants, the date it was submitted, and the date it was last submitted. If we go on the Design tab on this green bar here, we've now got the overview of the survey and what it actually looks like. You'll see all these things down the left-hand side here. And in a second, we're going to have a look at each of these and understand how they work in our survey. But for now, this one's just an example. This survey is looking at abiotic data collection at the Port of Brisbane. You can see here we've got what quadrat are you collecting from, and the answers are down the side here. So quadrat 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, this is currently in edit mode. We've then got the GPS location, and you can see here we have got a satellite imagery map of our location that we're going to be collecting our quadrats in. We've then got some typical abiotic factors like light intensity, salinity, pH, and at the bottom, take a picture of your quadrat. Now, if we go to this Collaborate tab on the middle bit in the green bar, you can see we've got some options here as well. So the first thing we can do is share our survey. Now, this is how we would share our finished survey with our students. So you can share it via a link, just like that, or you can actually share it via a QR code, where you just simply give the students the QR code and they can scan it with their phones or tablets or devices and then download the survey to their device. Next, we've got the Analysis tab. And the Analysis tab is a great feature because it actually creates a column graph, bar graph, pie chart, and map for each individual question that you asked it. For example, we asked it to create quadrats. We asked it about air temperature and surface temperature and salinity and pH. And you can see here, all of our questions have been put into one of the following examples. At the bottom here, you'll see we've also got our photos as well, which will be automatically mapped when we open this in ArcGIS Online. So you can see here, it's got the exact coordinates and locations that this was taken, and the images are quite lovely. Next on this green ribbon is the Data tab. Now, this is one of the most important buttons in Survey123. This is how we get our data to be automatically mapped and opened in ArcGIS Online. So if I zoom into my 4 quadrats here, you can see, there they are. You can see the accuracy is actually quite great considering how close they are. These are only a few meters apart, and you can see it's mapped them quite great. If I click on any of these squares, you can see here that it brings up the information, it brings up the location and all the abiotic data and the picture connected to this one particular point. Now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and click Open in Map Viewer. And now you can see that the map has been opened and there are my 4 quadrats. Perfect. We have a video later on about how to actually get this into ArcGIS Online and style it and change what your map is showing, etc. But for now, I just wanted to show you that it is actually possible to do that. So now we're in the ArcGIS Online platform. We can simply save our data and then go into it through our content. and change it and style it up however we want. But again, that video is coming later in the module. Another example of how we can use Survey123 is in this design mode. Okay, so we can have a look here. We've got the time and date. We've got this fresh, salt and brackish question here about the water. Now, you'll notice that this one is actually grayed out. This question is only visible when the rule is met, which means if I was to select salt or brackish from the previous question, the salinity question would appear. If I select fresh, the salinity question will not appear. This is a great feature of Survey123 of how you can connect questions so that your survey flows together nicely and makes sense. There's no point in answering questions on the size and shape of a koala if there's no koala present in the tree. The other thing to point out is you can embed imagery. So like this photo identification guide. This is brilliant if you're doing, weed species or tree species or any kind of fauna or flora species. It's also great if you want to show a methodology. So if you are wanting the students to collect some soil samples in a particular way, you can actually upload images of yourself collecting the samples and then embed them photos into Survey123 so all the students do it the exact same way. Okay. When we want to open a new survey, we need to come back to our Survey123 homepage and we need to click New Survey. You will want to start from a blank survey. Once you've opened it, it will look something like this. From here, we've got quite a few options. We've got the buttons down the left-hand side, which is all about adding your content and designing your content. We've got a title that we can give here. So I'm just going to say example survey. We can give it a title here. So I'm going to say shark survey. And you can give a bit of a description if you want. Over the left-hand side here, we've got all these different categories. So the first category is text, number, date, and time, okay? You've got single text. Now, this is just one line. So, for example, what is your name? What is your favorite color? Questions like that are just one kind of sentence at most. You've then got maximum multi-line text, which is a maximum of 500 characters. So maybe you want to say, explain this. Why do you feel this way? Why do you think that? And that requires a little bit more information. We have number. Anything that has a numerical form, apart from date and time, needs to be in this. So if it's pH, if it's temperature, if it's counts and amounts, whatever it might be, if it's a number, it's going to go in this particular one. Slider, if I just give you an example of this one, looks like this. And you can use this for whatever you want. So I could say rate the quality of the water. Hint, 1 is bad, 10 is good. And then we can also change the appearance as well, including the color. So I could say the start color is red and the end color is a nice green. And you can see there that the slider actually changes. And what the students can do then is they can actually rate along that scale line. Next, we've got date and time. Okay, so if you are wanting to collect a date or a time or anything, you simply need to click on the button, drag it over and drop it into your form. You'll see that all the buttons are on the left-hand side, but the editing panel is on the right-hand side. So for example, if we wanted to change this question where it says untitled question 2, we need to go over to the right-hand side here where it says label and say, please enter the date of collection as an example. You can see down the right-hand side here, you've also got some other things. We've got hint, 2 days, date. And you can see now that that enters right there underneath the top question. You can give specific dates that they can submit in a format. You can add whether you want the day, the month of the year, just the year, for example. You can also say whether this is a required question. So if I go ahead and tick that box, you'll now see this little red asterisk next to the question. That means that the person filling out the form cannot move on to the next question and submit their answers until they have answered this question right here. Going back to the options on the left-hand side, we've got a few more in this top section. We've got add a barcode, add a website, add an email even. So anything that you want your person taking your survey to be able to do, that is what these are for. Next, we've got the choice section. Now, this is the most popular section in Survey123. Single select is there's only one answer, yes, no questions. Pick your favorite flavor of cake, for example. Multiple select, there are multiple. How many different species of birds are in the tree? Well, there's X, Y, and Z bird. So there's multiple for them to select. Selection grid is kind of, you can do like a preference. So you can do like choice 1, 2, and 3 across the top. You can do, different species or whatever it is down the other side, and the children can prioritize which species had the most preference. We've then got drop downs and likability scales. So if I drag and drop the likability scale, you can see here that again, we can change everything about this. So I can say, how clean was the toilet? And you can see that we can change all of these. We can customize all of them. So it makes a lot more sense for the question that we are trying to create here. Next, we've got the location sections. Now, if you want your field data to be mapped, you need to include one of these options. The most popular option is the map. So if I drag and drop that, I can say, identify your location. And what we can do here is we can see I've now said on the label, identify your location, and that's given the question at the top. I can have a point, a line, or a polygon mapped on my map here. I can also ensure that my location is actually where I am, so the accuracy of the mapping is a lot more. So if I was doing, let's just say that I'm in QUT Gardens here at River Stage. Let's say that this is where my excursion was taking place. If I zoom in here, then my accuracy for my pins are now going to be about 1 meter. If you take on the entire world, it's going to be about 3 meters. So just keep that in mind. Okay, again, we can say this is a required question if you need it mapping, and so on and so forth. The other option for the location is an address, and again, you drag and drop, and again, you would just get the person filling out the question to fill out their actual address, and it would map it appropriately. In the bottom corners here, we've got some media. So if you want the children to be able to take an image, you can drag and drop image and say, take a picture of your specimen, whatever it is that you're collecting. We've also got audio. They can actually speak into their phone and give a little bit of an audio about what they're seeing or what they're feeling, or if they're interviewing someone in a park about why they're using the amenities. You can actually collect all of that. Okay. You can do file uploads, signatures, and also page and groups. Now, the one thing that I do want to point out is this notes section. So if I drag and drop the notes section, you can see here, this is actually where I can go to insert an image. Like I showed you before with the fish species identification, I can upload an image from my computer and it will be embedded into my Survey123 here. So if you are interested in implementing photos in your surveys, that's how you can do it. Once you've created your survey and you're happy with it, like this one right here, you need to publish your survey. So in this case, we've dragged and dropped all our information and we are ready to publish it. Okay, 2 things that you can do. You need to save it. So at the top here where there's that little save icon, you can go ahead and save it, but you can also preview it at any time using the button to the left of that save icon. Now the preview will show you exactly what it's going to look like for the people who are using this. So if I click on the phone there, you can see what it's going to look like for your students in the field actually using this. So again, I'm at quadrat number 1. I'm obviously not in Brisbane mangroves right now, so if I just click on that, now it's found my house. That's exactly where I am. I can fill out all this information. I can add my image at the end, take a photo, and I can submit it. That's exactly what we want our students to be able to do. So now we know it works. Once this is all done, we simply need to press the Published tab at the top here. Now this one says Publish because it's already been published, but once you're happy with everything, you can go ahead and publish. Once you have published your Survey123, that is when you can share it with your students. So in order to share it with your students, first of all, you need to say whether you want them to open it in the app. We have a mobile phone application that they can download and open it in the app, or you can open it directly in a browser. The other thing is who can submit this survey. If you're doing a public survey, you may want to make sure that everyone has access to it. However, if you're doing a school only or year 11, for example, excursion, and you've created a group already, you can go ahead and change that to members of the organization group and simply choose your group. And then once you've selected your group, you can publish it from there. Again, we've got some other things here. So what can submitters do? They can only add new records. Normally, we don't want to allow students to be able to delete records or update or, change anything. And the other things are all set to a default. So allow multiple submissions. If you're going to multiple locations, you'll need to make sure that that is on. And the other thing is you can also close the survey. So let's say you wanted everybody to have collected their data by 3 p.m. on a Friday. You can make sure that you can close the application. And if someone hasn't done what they were supposed to do, it's too late. So in a nutshell, that is how you create a Survey123. There's a few other options over here where you can change the appearance, for example, by clicking that little paint palette there. You can make it look very, very different, however you want it to look. And once you're happy with it, again, just save it and publish. Brilliant. I hope this has been helpful. And if you want to explore more features of Survey123, including our AI features, which creates the entire form for you, continue on with the module.